Welcome back to At Home with Roby. I'm Patrick McIsaac from Roby Electric, along with Trent Haston from the Roby family of companies. We are your hosts. Kenny Smith is still with us in the studio. Kenny, your website is letkennysmith.com. Got a nice video out there that sort of talks about who you are and where you come from and your beliefs. And we were talking a little bit about the mobility in Charlotte, how we're 50 out of 50. I know that's something that you're going to be working very hard, whether you're in your council position or as potential mayor of Charlotte.
Yeah, those are all very important issues.
Yeah, and so take us down the road a little bit, Kenny. We had you on September 4th, and you weren't quite sure where you were. You said you had a group of masterminds that you were going to go meet with and discuss whether or not you were potentially going to put your hat in for mayor, and obviously you have done that. What was sort of not the straw that broke the camel's back, but what was really the catalyst that said, I'm doing this?
So there are a couple things. One is I go back to when we lost the NBA All-Star Game, and Mayor Roberts sent out a tweet basically thanking the NBA for leaving. Well, the NBA All-Star Game not coming here cost our city $80 million in economic development. Who gets impacted by that? Often a lot of low income or lower wage scale service workers, people that would work at the venue for the game. To me, that was sort of like thanking the bully. And I'm not calling the NBA a bully, so this is more figurative. But the person that just took your milk money, right? And so, are you really going to think somebody took your milk money? I mean, I think that was a time where we needed to stand up for Charlotte and say, hey, we really want you here. Charlotte's a great city. We've been a fantastic partner of the NBA. And so instead of the politics side of this, because remember, we were in a contentious election cycle, both at the gubernatorial level and the presidential level, there was a good wedge issue for her. So if we lost, her political side gained. And then secondly, during the unrest in October, Mayor went on, I think, 43 times on national networks, didn't do a single local interview. And I'm sitting there going, gosh, should the citizens of Charlotte really have to turn on CNN to find out what's happening here? And I was doing Facebook Live at that time to give people updates. It was my first foray into doing that. And I was getting a couple thousand hits on this. And so you realize that the people of Charlotte really just want somebody that's going to put Charlotte first.
Somebody just going to get down in the weeds and do the dirty work, and that's what we talk about a lot. So, no, I think that's great. Man, I mean, I think your platform's good. So are you putting the commercial real estate career on hold, or are you going to you juggling here, buddy?
It's juggling. It's time management. So it's mayor's part-time job. Campaign feels closer to a full-time job.
I can only imagine.
So, it will be this year we will have to do a bunch of time management. But, I need to work, so I do work. I need to put bread on my table. I need to feed my soul.
Saying, right?
Yeah, I need pride in myself.
Yeah.
But so we will I have a partner, and she and I break up our workload. And so, it's helpful. But the campaign will take a lot of time. But it's something I'm incredibly excited about, very energized about. I was at Harris Teeter the other day, and somebody goes, "Hey, Charlotte deserves better," and I'm like, "Man, this is great!
That's cool. Yeah,
this is great. This is
you started a campaign at the Harris Teeter.
Yeah,
come on, man.
I can see maybe like a red baseball hat with like an older one with white
we're
lettering.
We're going to stick with blue, and Charlotte deserves better. A little more optimistic.
I'm just joking, Kitty.
Well, what are some of your goals for economic development for Charlotte on the business front?
Well, first of all, we need to figure out a way to have a compromise at the state level on HB2. That's the elephant in the room. That is hurting my industry, real estate. It is hurting corporate relocations. So to the extent we can work on that, we've lost hundreds and millions in economic development on that with CoStar not coming, with PayPal or a couple high-profile groups that had Charlotte narrowed down that pulled out. And both of those probably translated into over 1,000 jobs just with those two individual announcements. I think 1,100 if I remember correctly. So if we can work with the state and start to find common ground in some of those areas, we should have some natural growth back in. Charlotte's a great quality of life. We have good schools, temperate climate, although it doesn't feel like that today. And so we have a lot of natural attractions that are going to bring people here. We have an educated workforce. We have an available workforce. So we need to get out of, ideological battles and back to sort of the blocking and tackling. So if we can do that, that will help our community as a whole. That will help the construction industry. That'll help you guys. That'll help home buildings.
Sure.
That'll help folks that need a wonderful electrician to come over and fix something. And so the more we have to spread throughout our community, the better off we are. But the key is I think we need to make sure that we create real opportunity, and it has to be citywide. We have to have real economic opportunity.
Right. I mean, in sort of, you brought in the first segment, or our second segment, the first segment we had you on, you talked about the pride that you had when the Hornets initially came, when the Bangs came. I grew up outside of Atlanta and Marietta, and I can relate to that when we got the Olympics, and when the Atlanta Braves finally won their division, coming from worse. But those things,
Sid
everybody,
Bream.
hey man, I remember Sid Bream like it was yesterday. But
Sid Bream?
But hey, Steve, he doesn't understand. No, but those things, everybody was one. It doesn't matter where you came from, what neighborhood you lived in. If you were 10 years old or 50 years old, the city was one. Yeah. And obviously, you guys had the same feeling being here in Charlotte. So what do you think it's going to take to get back to that?
I think it's going to take several things. One is it's going to take somebody that's willing to listen.
Yep.
It's going to take somebody that has their respect on both sides of the aisle, that will sit down with folks that have differing opinions. Often, say on Facebook, agreement's not required. I'll have some friends that come on and have very different opinions than me, and I'll have other people. And but I think being able to sit down and listen. I think being able to take sort of ideology out of local politics. Again, local politics is infrastructure, public safety, economic development. It's not some of these wedge issues that have been incredibly pervasive within our city the past year and a half. And I think it also is going to take somebody who's going to take leadership skills, have great relationships with other members of council. I always say I'm pragmatic but principled, and resolute but respectful. So we can differ in our opinions.
Right.
And we can have a different worldview. The question is, how do we treat each other during the course of that conversation? And what I do at the dais is work exceedingly hard. I want more people to think like me. I'm not going to have them thinking like me if I'm standing in the corner with my finger pointing and yelling. So I try to engage in positive, productive dialogue and to bring folks along. And you find areas where you can work. You may not agree on everything. If we agree 70% of the time, I think those are pretty good odds.
Well, you said you need to listen. I took that, and then I think what sums it up is being vulnerable. I think if the leader of our city is vulnerable and willing to open up and understand that it isn't all white and black, and everybody's struggling in their own world and their own ways, then I think it opens up dialogue.
I agree, and I think an important issue is you have to put the wants and needs of our city first. And that is more important than any sort of political brand or political ambition or whatever you think you're, looking at a next rung on the ladder. You have to say, okay, we have 830,000 people in a 300 square mile area. What's best for these people, all of them that I represent?
I got a question for you. How much of the mayor's job is regional versus strictly the city limits?
So, it's a balance, right? So, as Charlotte goes, the metro area goes, and vice versa. We have to have some collaboration with the towns within the county and then outside areas. Everybody relies on our airport. Light rail that may head north is going to have to get to Morrisville at some point. So, we're going to have to work with Iredell County. We're going to have to work with the town of Morrisville, Huntersville, Cornelius. We are interdependent on everybody that is surrounding us. And, with our new city manager, Marcus Jones, he comes from Norfolk, which had a big regionalism push. Heard today at a luncheon again where Mr. Harris and Mr. Bissell spoke. And, at one point, the outlying counties felt left behind by Charlotte. And I don't think that's healthy for any of our relationship. But we will always have to look at what makes the most sense for us. But day to day, it's in the city limits. It's in the 300 square miles.
Got it.
But big picture, we need everybody.
Yeah, if Charlotte's successful, the city of Charlotte, then Gaston County is going to feed off of it.
People that work uptown,
York.
Yeah. People that work uptown live in some of these.
It goes back to the basic principles that we try to teach our kids. The golden rule: do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Take care of your neighbor.
Yeah, wish my children would do unto each other as they want done unto them, because it doesn't always work that way in our house.
Little fights between
we try
siblings.
Every day when the kids get out of the truck. I take them to school. I give them the golden rule, and vice versa. So I pray that others will do the golden rule to my children.
Well, Kenny, we got about 20 seconds, man. Tell us where we can go to find
thank
you.
Y'all for having me. It's www.electkennysmith.com. You can get involved with the campaign there.
Yes,
you can donate there. You can learn a little bit more about my platforms, and email me, and we'll Kenny@electkennysmith.com. Come speak to your group.
Thanks for being willing to be a servant.
Thank you.
Have a great day.